Hello everybody, Cooper here, and welcome to another episode of my AFL 23 Richmond Management Career Mode. Hope you're all doing very well today. It's my favourite time of the year in any series that I do. It is the off season. There's just so many things to like about it. But there's a few sort of admin-based things that we need to do first. First and foremost, I can't actually remember if I said hope you're having a good day because it's very important. Everyone should have a great day. We actually haven't played the finals yet, so we're going to have a look at the finals bracket quickly. First game will be Geelong Freo, so I'm guessing that's first versus fourth. Second and third will be Swans Essendon. Gold Coast have an elimination final against Collingwood, and then Port Brizzy, replay of the 04 grand final, will be the other elimination final. Very much looking forward to that. Next thing we need to do is obviously go through the finals, have a look at the season stats, who wins what award, and then we can get into the good stuff. But with a click of a button, that is what we're going to do. The season is complete. Hopefully we get something interesting in the finals. Geelong have won the Premiership, it looks like. Gold Coast lose their elimination final, which on a personal note makes me sad. But let's have a quick sort of browse of the finals, see what comes of it. The qualifying final, which was in Geelong. I'm surprised they're actually allowed to do that. Geelong won by 27, which was very good. Max Holmes ended up with 30 touches. Brian Myers, 28 touches and 3 goals. Pretty good. Sarong had 30 touches with the ball. Pretty happy with how this all played out. I mean, I'm pretty impartial, to be honest. Sydney is one of my brother's teams. When I say one of my brothers, I have two brothers. I don't have one brother that supports multiple teams. They flog Essendon in their qualifying final. When I say flog, it's only 16 points, so I don't know why I was getting too excited about that, but I was looking at the final quarter sort of discrepancy. If we have a look at the stats, Warner, 32 touches. McLean kicked 4. Detoli, who's one of the rookies this year, kicked 3. Darcy Parish had 32. So Essendon lost their first final. Now, I don't actually know if they lose the semi-final. I wasn't really paying attention. I just basically looked at the grand final and went straight to the first round. So we'll see what it looks like now. They made it to the prelim. So Bombers fans, you finally won a final. Congratulations. On the next note, Gold Coast were up they're up by how much? 6 points at three-quarter time. They're up for most of the game, actually, and just blow it in the final quarter at home, which is very sad. Jed Walter kicked 3. Noah Anderson didn't get a lot of the ball. Looks like Collingwood dominated possession. Tim Membry kicked 3. Very good result by them. And then Port just belt Brisbane in the other elimination final by 33 points. Finlayson kicks 3. Travis Boak, and surely what will be one of his finals campaigns, gets 26 touches. Lachie Neale had 31. Was very, very good. Freo over in Perth up against Collingwood in the semi-final was very interesting. Jai Amiss kicked 3. Jagger O'Meara had 33. Jordan De Goey had 24. Wasn't too bad. Nick Dacos actually kicked 2 goals in a very surprising sort of thing for him because he hasn't kicked that many goals. And then the Bombers finally win a finals game. These guys at the MCG would have been running amok. 54-point winners over Port. Dominated. Absolutely dominated. Xavier Dersma, 39 touches. Hind, I still don't know how to say his name. 26 touches and 3 goals. Really, really good. Nobody showed up for Port, unfortunately for them. And then in the prelim, the first prelim at the MCG, Geelong, 9-point winners, 5 goals each in the final quarter. Who played well? Bailey Smith, 32 touches. Dangerfield, 27 touches and 2 goals. Sam Wiedemann kicked 6 actually, but just couldn't get it done. And then the Swans lose at home against Freo in a prelim final. Very, very interesting. But in the grand final, if I can get over there. Yes, there we go. Geelong were down at three-quarter time, but 5 goals to 0 against Freo. Who gets Norm Smith? We have to figure this out. Strictly based on the data I have available, I would either go Holmes or Tyson Stengel, but I would probably go Holmes at this stage. So Max Holmes, you're a Norm Smith medalist. Congratulations. In terms of the Brownlow medal, you guys know how much I despise giving the Brownlow to Ruckman on this channel. If you watched any of my AFL 23 series. They always give the Brownlow to Ruckman. I do not understand it. So we're going to do basically a Brownlow for each position. I feel like that makes the most sense. For defenders, it's Tom McCallum, who hasn't played a great deal of footy, but 24 matches played for his career. I'm assuming most of those were this season. 560 touches, 6 goals, 15 behinds. We'll have a look at all their stats in a minute. For forwards, it goes to Paul Curtis, who I think had his 50th game the other week. Very interesting career so far, even though he's playing for North. Like, I wouldn't have thought they would get too many votes. Key defenders, apparently only Bolter and Gibcus polled votes so they can share it. That's quite funny. Key forwards, who gets it? It is Jay Polkinghorne, who I think when we checked earlier in the season, may have been a contender for winning the Coleman as well. So he gets 10 votes as a rookie, which is quite interesting. Tom Lynch, Todd Marshall, Sam Darcy, all in the top 5. For the mids, it goes to Matt Rao, which again, on a personal note, makes me very happy as a Gold Coast Sun. And then for rucks, sure, Strawn can get it. That's fine. Yeah, whatever. For the Coleman medal, it was Jay Polkinghorne that gets it, the 18-year-old, who was recently drafted to Geelong. 26 games in his first season, 79 goals. How many of those were in the regular season? 73. But in terms of everybody else, Darcy Fogarty, career best season for him. Nick Larkey finished in 3rd. Van Rooyen finished 4th. Jaimis finished 5th. Who led it for us? I'm assuming it would be Tom Lynch. Yeah, he's right down the bottom there with 48. And then Rising Star goes to this guy, Will Verrill. Can't believe none of our guys didn't get Rising Star. But if we're going to go off of positions again, these guys were the only ones to get votes. So Verrill gets it for Ruckman, McCullen gets it for forwards, Polkinghorne for key forwards, Josh Smiley gets it for the mids, and then for the defenders is it Tom McCullum? Yeah, Tom McCullum. And then the All-Australian team this year, Polkinghorne and Tom Lynch, funnily enough, are your key forwards. Paul Curtis, Cam Rayner, Cunningham, and Lipinski are the forwards. Strawn's your ruck, Matt Rao, Took Miller, Josh Smiley, Max Holmes, Tom Green are the mids. Bolter and Gibcus are your key defenders, which is amazing. McCullum, Faye. Nankervis, not our Nankervis, and Michael get it for the defenders. With the official awards season over, it is now time to have a look at the broader list of statistics. Polkinghorne, as we know, led the way with goals. We already knew the list of goal kickers. Zach Merritt led the way with disposal getters, 815 on the season. Matt Rao in second with 761. Callum Mills, 754. Who was the highest for us? I suppose we'll have a look at our team in a minute. Tanner Bruin, 109 marks this season. Seems a little low, but Sam Layla led the way for us with 94. Was very, very good. Tackles, a lot of Geelong players featured, not too surprising. Clearances is Zach Merritt. Kicks is Zach Merritt. Handballs, Zach Merritt. And then Harry Barnett with the hitouts as well. Toby Nankervis in 3rd. Very nice. Zach Merritt led the way with contested possessions. Marks we've already looked at, but contested marks, Tom Lynch, 39 contested marks. Intercept marks was Ben McKay. Is it Luke Trainer? I think it is Luke Trainer. Got 44 contested marks, tied with about 5 other people. And then who kicked the most points this season? Oscar Allen, 44 goals, 60. Just awful work by him. All the other leading goal kickers were pretty reasonable. I can't see any real stinkers. I don't think I can see any real bad ones. Score assist, Max Holmes led the way. Now it's time to go through our team. Tom Lynch, 48 goals this season from 22 games. Pretty good. Not going to complain about it. But he is not a part of our future plan, so I dare say he will be moved on in this episode. We just got to find a realistic home for him because he doesn't really want to be spending the remainder of his years on a really bad Richmond team. He's going to want to compete for a premiership, so we've got to find him a place that he can do that. Taj Houghton was really good in his rookie campaign, missed a couple of games through injury, but 29 goals from a small forward. You're never going to complain about that. Jacob Kajitsky was pretty good. He's under contract for another couple of years. We'll keep an eye on him. Rioli, Judson Clark, Fall, all kicked over 20 goals. And then we sort of get into the midfielders for goal kicking. Taranto, 691 disposals led the way. Sam Layla and Josh Smiley both had astounding rookie seasons as our 2 highest draft picks. Jack Ross, 500 touches a season, not bad. Dion Prestia, I believe he's out of contract now, so he's probably going to be another one we either just release or let go for very minimal cost. Jacob Hopper, I think he's going to be around for a while. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to unload his contract unless we attach some pretty valuable assets. Sam Layla led with marks, no real surprise there. Taranto with tackles is interesting. Clearances, Layla, Taranto, Hopper, all in the top 3. Taranto led with possessions, or kicks and handballs, I should say. And then we shared the ruck duties around pretty evenly, it has to be said. Nankervis had the most hit-outs. Miller filled in a bit off the bench. Bolter, Lynch, and Naismith also got some hit-outs. Last thing I want to look at is goal kicking for us. Tom Lynch kicked pretty straight. Taj Houghton was pretty good as well. Kajitsky was really good, as was Rioli. Judson Clark, I wish he kicked a little bit straighter. Fall wasn't great in front of goal, but did get plenty of assists. Smiley, Armstrong, Taranto all kicked 15 goals plus. And for score assist, Taranto and Smiley each had 25 plus. The trade period is now open, and I think we need to have a look at a couple of the players that we're going to be targeting. I'm going to take a quick screen grab of the ladder so I don't lose it, because I'm going to be using it to reference when looking at the players that we're going to be targeting. The first team on the top of the ladder was Geelong, and considering they've just come off a premiership, I'm going to consider guys like Sam De Koning kind of off limits, even though I believe he actually, he's out of contract next season. So he's only played the 68 games. He's relatively young. He's probably going to want to stay at Geelong. Connor O'Sullivan, he played 1 game last year. Does he want to stay around? We'll wait and see. He's got low morale, so we can sort of use that as an indicator going forward. Then we've got Caton Matofai Forbes. I'm always going to have trouble saying his name. 19 games, 15 goals. Pretty good season from the debutant, but does have very low morale. So he may be looking to leave. And then we've got Jacob Follier, who is also a rookie. He's only 17 years of age, apparently. So we're going to have a look at him. He did play a handful of games, but not too many. He also has very low morale. So what do we do from here? Who do we think is a reasonable target? I'm going to take De Koning off for now. And I'm going to redo my watch list at the start of every season because it does reset anyway. Connor O'Sullivan, could we potentially get another key defender who is a little bit better? We'll keep an eye on him for now, but I think we can do a little better. So my main targets will be these other 2, but it also depends on who we get rid of as well. Sydney now, and Nick Blakey, he's not going anywhere. They did lose in a prelim, but he is very happy. He's a father-son to the club, so we're going to say no to him right now. And then there's Riak Andrew, who I don't know, he's actually played some games. Last time we checked, he hadn't really played that much. But 17 games, he's got low morale, so he may want to leave, but I don't really think so at this point in time. The Bombers, who surprisingly made a prelim final, like the likes of the really high-rated guys, like your Nick Coxes, your Jordan Ridleys of the world, your Xavier Dersmans, who played really well in the prelim, probably not wanting to go. Like, yeah, he's got high morale and he's contracted for a long time, so we'll say no to him. Nick Cox, high morale. I don't think he's contracted for a long time, but we'll still say no to him. And then Jordan Ridley, who's 25, very high morale, has a long contract. We're going to say no to him. But we're still going to keep considering these other guys, like Archie Roberts. Average morale, doesn't have a contract right now, so should be fairly easy to trade for. Nate Caddy, very high morale, has a year left on his deal. He played 22 games last season, so it was pretty good. Tex Wanganeen, didn't he play that much? Only played the 7 games. Low morale, no contract, should be easy to trade for if we want to. And then Jaden Davey, 13 games, average morale, no contract. So bit of a mixed bag with the Bombers, but they're also like the small forwards. I mean, not that really Nate Caddy's is a small forward, but they're all sort of similar kinds of players. Frio's next, and the only player that we were targeting is Hayden Young. We're just going to say no to him because Freo just made a prelim also. Actually, no, they made the grand final. So we're going to say no to them. The 3 Gold Coast players are up next. They just made the finals for the first time. I don't think any of them, they're still too young to want to leave, I don't think. And, you know, first final in club history, that is something to get quite excited about. So I feel like morale's quite high at the Gold Coast right now. Port is next, and Tom McCallum, McCallum I should say, he played a lot of games last year, was one of the best rookies in the competition, so I don't think he's going to want to go anywhere, so we'll say no to him. Brisbane up next is a very interesting case. Devon Robertson has a contract for next year, does have high morale, but could be persuaded if we paid him enough, and he has a bit of potential, so there's going to be a lot of players moving on, so we can definitely make a few moves. John Noble from Collingwood, who is up next, is definitely a player we will go for, depending on sort of how much he's asking for, what other targets we can find. My thinking is he moved clubs in real life, so why wouldn't he move now? Ed Allen, depending on how many games he played quite a bit of football, so I don't necessarily think he's going to go anywhere either. He's got very high morale, so seems unlikely, so we'll let him off the list. Hawks are next. Now, it's going to be pretty curious because they were really quite good at the start of the season, and then it appears at the end of the season the wheels kind of fell off. Bailey McDonald, very high morale, doesn't have a contract at this point in time. We'll probably stay away from him. Cody Anderson, great dreads, really great dreads, big-bodied midfielder. We do need more of those. Played a lot of footy last year, has low morale, so depending on what we can potentially offer Hawthorn, would they be interested in someone like Tom Lynch? Because they don't really have a key forward that I can really think of right now, like unless you're considering Mabior Chol your primary key forward. We'll just see how it goes. Matt Hill, who we did show a lot of interest in during the mid-season episode. Average morale, doesn't have a contract, played a lot of footy last year. We'll see how that goes. And then Noah Mraz played no footy last year, very low morale. Could possibly be looking for a move. Crows now, and they finished in 10th, which I think they finished 15th last season, so technically that is an improvement, so I don't think their expectations were to make finals this year, so I'm really just going to let everybody on this list go because I don't think anybody would really want to leave the Crows at this point, so they're headed in the right direction. Carlton, oh jeez. Tom De Koning has 2 years left on his deal, looks to be a fairly expensive signing, has high morale, so probably not going to leave, I dare say. Did have a few problems with injury. But yeah, did miss the playoffs, the finals. So we'll say maybe on De Koning for now. St Kilda, another season without finals. Ross the Boss is not really doing it for them right now. Philippou was really good against us in the game that he played. He's out of contract, but does have very high morale. So probably going to stay, I would imagine. There we go. Wanganeen Miller, depending on how he feels, we may have a crack at him. He is a very good player and played very well against us. Has a year left on his deal and has high morale, so probably not going to leave at this point. Alex Dodson is a rookie, played 19 games, has very low morale. I don't know why the rookies don't have good morale. And then Taru, 18 games last season, has low morale as well. So we'll say maybe on all these other guys. We'll just see how it plays out. The Giants, a bit of a backward step for them, finishing in 13th. Leek Alir could be a guy we go for. 22 games for his career. Average morale, I was about to say average potential. He has quite good potential. Only has 1 year left on his deal. Maybe looking for a move elsewhere. Lockie Ash, high morale. He's not going to leave. Cadman, 2 years left. 2 years left on his deal. Has high morale. He's not going to leave. Callahan, again, high morale, but has a year left. Maybe interested in making a move. Connor Iden, high morale again. Cooper Hamilton, average morale. Doesn't have a contract. Could be looking to move. And then James League, very high morale. May take a bit of money dollars to remove him from GWS. Melbourne, it'll be interesting to see what we do with the players we've listed from Melbourne. Tom Sparrow has very high potential. They may be in a position where they just try and fully embrace the rebuild, which isn't something I necessarily think they wouldn't do in real life. Judd McVie, I've said Jed a couple of times, has very high morale, so probably wouldn't be looking to move at this point in time. We'll say no to him. And now we've reached the bottom four. Now we've reached the cellar dwellers. This is the good stuff. LDU with North Melbourne. I don't really know what his situation is. We'll have to have a look. He's 25 years of age. Still has very high morale, even though he is a restricted free agent next season. Could we lure him away from North Melbourne? Would he necessarily even be interested? I don't know, but we'll wait and see how it goes. Will Phillips, 22 years of age, very high morale. The problem with North Melbourne is they've just got so many of these sort of midfield types that they can't play them all. So even if one does have high morale, we could persuade them away with enough money. Harry Sheasel, I'm probably not going to touch, to be honest, because I don't think he would really be interested until he's either out of contract or North Melbourne are still down the bottom of the ladder. Tristan, is it Jerry? I think that's how you say it. Cherry, I don't know. He's only got high morale, so could be interested in the move. Should we look to move on or sort of upgrade Nankervis, move Nankervis to a backup role? Cameron Zerha has high morale. He's out of contract and an unrestricted free agent. I would like to upgrade our half forward, so he may be someone we go for. Zane Dersma, average morale, and he could also be a midfield type as well. More one of those big body midfielders, but we'll probably play him in the forward line initially. Colby McKercher has high morale at this point in time. We'll leave him alone. Finn O'Sullivan had a pretty good first season for North Melbourne. Has low morale. We could look to get him. And then Luke Urquhart only played the 2 games. He is not happy whatsoever. So if we were to give someone a few more midfield opportunities, we could potentially aim for Urquhart and Dersma. Those could be the positions we go. And then maybe if they're feeling like it, someone like a Zerha or a Cherry as well. 2 teams left, and they are at the bottom of the alphabet. And these are probably the most interesting, funnily enough. First of all is Harley Reid from West Coast. He had a pretty good season, kicked a few goals. He's got very high potential. I've started mapping out what a contract might even look like for him. These are just it's a dummy contract. Realistically, he's contracted until 2027. He's still apparently quite happy in West Coast, so we'll see how that plays out. Bontempelli, I don't think he would leave the Bulldogs, is the only thing. He's got high morale, which, he's contracted for another season, so we'll see how it plays out. Jed Buslinger, average morale. He played 13 games this year, so that's something. But Jamara is the interesting one here. He's played 67 games for his career. He's contracted until 2026, but he, as of recording, is very unhappy at the Western Bulldogs. So I could try and take a bit more of a realistic approach with this and incorporate real-life storylines. I don't want to be doing that too much. For the odd case here and there, we'll see what happens. Now we need to look at our current player contract situation, and it is a little messy because a lot of people are currently uncontracted, which doesn't necessarily make me feel the most secure. Vlosten, I think he's probably going to stay. He's only 30. I thought he was a little bit older than that. At the end of his contract, he'll be 32, and then we'll probably look to move him on after that. So for the time being, he can stay. Grimes is retired, so I'm not going to bring him back. The only place I would probably trade him is somewhere like Gold Coast, but I don't necessarily think I would do that necessarily, but things might change. Dion Prestia, he is currently 30. How old is he? 31. I don't really want to bring him back. I'm quite happy to move him on. If I was to trade him, it'd probably be for like a 2nd or 3rd round pick. I wouldn't go super crazy. Dustin Martin, see the Dylan Grimes example here. Jack Ross, it says he's uncontracted, but I did sign him to an extension mid-season, so he is signed up now till 2027. Same with Layla. Liam Baker, I'm going to trade to West Coast, like he should be there already. Taj Houghton, 2027. Ryan Mansell, I don't really want to sign him, and he's got low morale, so he's not going to sign anyway. Morris Rioli signed till 2028. Armstrong's till 2027. Cumberland and Ralph Smith I'm probably going to move on from. I don't really see them growing anymore in terms of their current ability, so I'm quite happy to move them on, as I'm not going to re-sign them. Taranto is going to stay, even though he is getting older. Jaden Short's going to stay. He's still contracted. Smiley's contracted. Gibcus, Lynch. Gibcus is going to stay, obviously. I just signed him to a massive contract. Lynch, I'm going to try and move to a Premiership contender, somewhere that realistically is probably going to be decent, so I'm not going to send him interstate because I don't think he'd be happy there. Kajitsky is going to stay. He's on a very good contract. Bolter, we just signed up to the long-term. Hopper, I'm going to try with all my might to move on because I don't think he's currently very good. He's not going to get any better, and he's contracted through to 2029. I don't really see me using him because I want to give priority to the younger guys. Judson Clark's all signed up. Sam Naismith, going to move on from. He's in his 30s now. Nane Curvis is out of contract. I don't really want to move on from him, but depending on how much he asks for, we'll wait and see. Coulthard, I'm going to move on from. Tommy Doe, I'm probably going to move on from. McAuliffe, I'm going to move on from. Brown, I'm going to give him an extension. He was very good last season. 24 games for his career now. I think something in the range of 20-30 because he's got very high morale, good potential. I'm not actually going to offer him $235,000. I just want to see what the market's like. He wants $600,000. What if we drop it down to a 4-year deal? Would that be reasonable? $429. That's much better. We'll give you $430 just because I like round numbers. And he signed the deal. Fantastic news. So that was that one. Is there anybody else on this list that I particularly haven't signed up that I probably should have already? Trainers signed up. Samson Ryan is signed up. Camden McIntosh is an interesting one. Just because he's on the older side, we may look to float him around. I don't know who to, though, is the only thing. Graham's going to go to West Coast alongside Baker. Broad's got another year, which is fine. Fawcett, only got average potential. I don't think I'm going to do anything with him. Trezzy is going to stay. Fall's going to stay. Oh, sorry, Trezzy's going to go. Trezice? Is that how you say his name? Is going to go. Kalina's going to go. Sonsi will stay. Banks will stay. Lafau will leave. Bowers still got a contract for next season. Seth Campbell. We'll have a look at Seth Campbell in a minute, but all these other uncontracted players down the back are just going to go. Seth Campbell has a bit of potential left. How old is he? He's 19. I thought he was a little bit older than that for some reason. Can we give him like a 3-year deal? Would that be reasonable? He wants $250,000 a season. We can do that. That's fine. I don't want to just clog up the bank too much, though. Just got to be mindful of that. Seth Campbell signed for 3 more years. Now, we got to move on some players. First order of business is to send Baker and Graham to West Coast. Now, technically, we've already received what we got for these players. We got pick 14, which ended up being obviously one of our players we already have. So I think a future like 3rd rounder or 4th rounder would be reasonable, mainly because there's nothing really that we need to take from them that we don't already have, and a 4th round pick is really not that valuable. So Baker and Graham, they're already out of contract. That shouldn't be too bad. West Coast are obviously very happy with this deal. That is that deal done. The next deal I'm going to put together is with the Gold Coast Suns. I'm sending all the old dudes to Gold Coast. The retired players, including Grimes, Pickett, and Martin. They're going to go have a holiday with Dimmer on the Gold Coast. We're also going to send Dion Prestia up that way. And I think a future 2nd round pick. Yes, these are all old guys, but I think a future 2nd is relatively fair. We'll let them keep their pick this year. We're going to send that to the Gold Coast, and they're going to be very happy. We're going to play them at some point next year, and hopefully we're going to have a crack against our old team. The first official player I'm going to be trading for is from the Essendon Footy Club, and it's the son of a legend. It will be Tex Wanganeen, mainly because I think he's probably the most realistic get from Essendon, because even though he is out of contract, would he get another one? Maybe not. We're going to offer him a 3-year deal at $90,000 a season. Yes, it's fairly cheap. We're going to give him a primary list spot. Hopefully he will accept this. He does. He's got good potential, and I'm hopeful that he is going to be a part of our future. Maybe not as a first team player, but definitely in the reserves, and then as someone who can potentially come in if there's an injury. We're also going to be looking for pick 51 in the 3rd round this year, and this is going to be a part of the Jacob Hopper salary dump. We're going to be sending, along with Jacob Hopper, the future 4th round pick we just got from the Gold Coast, I think it was, the 4th round pick, as well as our own future 4th and our 4th rounder this year, which is pick 57. I think that is pretty fair value for a player that's pretty expensive. We're trying to get rid of his contract. Tex Wanganeen probably going to get delisted. I feel like he got delisted in real life, and we move up in the draft, which is very handy. This may seem fairly one-sided in favour of Essendon, but I don't necessarily mind that. I just want to get Hopper's money out of here. The next deal we're going to be trying to organise is the Tom Lynch, moving him to a team that potentially could win some premierships. And the team that makes the most logical sense is the team that just won a premiership. They don't have Tom Hawkins anymore. He is now retired. So Tom Lynch, although not the youngest, could serve as a replacement. We're going to be sending him, Samson Ryan, and I don't actually know Ralph Smith's first name, and our own future 2nd round pick, I believe, or it could be the Gold Coast one. I'm not 100% sure. It is the Gold Coast one, just double checked. For pick 18, which is their 1st rounder, their future 1st rounder, and pick 54 in the 3rd round. Hopefully they say yes to this. They do. They're ecstatic. I'd rather overpay than, fleece them a little bit. But we're getting the future assets that we do need, getting salaries off the books so we can sign some more players. Just done a quick evaluation, and between now and the draft, or the end of the draft, I should say, we've got about $5.5 million to spend on 17 different players at least. So that works out to be about 300 grand a player. There's obviously the drafted players, which have, I think, about $100,000 salaries. We've got our own draft picks, which we can use. I actually haven't had a look at the draft class this year, but in our current horde of draft picks, we have pick 3, 18, 21, 39, 51, and 54. I'm not probably going to use 75 and down, but we also have some future picks that we can use. Let's have a look at the current draft pool to see who's available. Are there any good players? There is one really good player. He's a forward. It is Gabriel Johnston. He looks very handy. 75 overall, has good potential. His attributes aren't too bad. Kicks a long ball. Really good sort of pressure forward, I think he is. Yeah, pressure forward. Really good defensive stats. His stats for Vic Country weren't too bad. Only kicked the 1 goal, 4 behinds. But I think he may be the number 1 pick in this draft. There's also another ruck down here. Santiago Brown, Western Australian, only 185 centimetres. Had a pretty good carnival by the looks of it, but I'd rather a ruckman that was a little bit taller. But apart from that, there isn't a great deal of potential talent in this year's draft. So we may be going just with the top pick in this one, in Gabriel Johnston. And as we know, the Western Bulldogs have the top pick in this year's draft. So if we can work out a trade with them, that would be probably the most ideal situation, you would have to say. But they also have a couple of players on our shopping list that we are interested in. Mainly being, if I can find him, Jamara Ugle-Hagan and Buzzlinger, which if we're getting a key defender, we'd probably have to give up a key defender. So depending on what the rest of their list actually needs as well. But yeah, Jamara may be a part of this deal. If we can get pick 1 Jamara, we would have to send 2 future firsts, our 2 firsts in 3 and 18, as well as probably some other young players. So let's first of all work out a deal for Jamara, because in all likelihood, he's probably going to want to leave the Western Bulldogs. Apparently, I already have worked out a deal for him. I don't like that. Can I change my deal that I did? Maybe I did that in the middle of the season. I can't remember if I had or not. I'm going to go look for him. He's currently on a salary of $864,000 with a contract expiring in 2026. I'm going to offer him $700,000 a year until 2030. He wants, 1.2 $0.08 million a season. And because everything's on the hardest difficulty, that is going to be a tough contract to swallow. We may not be able to go after Jamara, unfortunately, just because of the cost. Unless we offer him a longer deal. That's the only thing. Could we go 8 years and at like 900? Would he be interested in that? Not really. 9, I don't really want to offer him 9 years just because he's a little bit of a hothead, to be honest. He's just a little bit unpredictable. So we'll stick for just trading for the number 1 pick right now and maybe Buzzlinger or Buzzlinger. Apparently I've already got a deal for him. When have I done these deals? I cannot remember doing them whatsoever. I am all over the shop. What is the deal that he is after? Let's offer him 150 grand over 4 years. He'll accept 191. We'll pump it up to 195 because we're good people. Jed Buzzlinger is going to be a part of the not the Western Bulldogs. He's already a part of the Western Bulldogs. He's going to be a part of the Richmond Football Club. And this is the kind of deal that makes more sense. Not necessarily going out getting the big dogs, no pun intended, but finding guys that are either underappreciated or undervalued by other clubs, bringing them in alongside some other talent. Now, we probably won't have to give up as much, considering Ugelhagen's not in the deal. So we could probably give up pick 3 and still keep pick 18. I wouldn't mind throwing in a player, to be perfectly honest. I don't really want to give up any other picks that I don't have to give up. Would you be interested in Fawcett? He's a key forward with a bit of potential. We'll throw Trezise in the deal, and we'll also throw in, if I can find him, we'll throw in Hayes Brown as well. That's not the player I was looking for. I was looking for, maybe it wasn't Naismith I was looking for, I can't remember. But I think those 3 players, pick 3, and if we can get maybe like a future 4th rounder or a 5th rounder or something like that, just to get a bit of future draft protection, I suppose, that would be good. They consider the deal extremely fair. We now have the number 1 pick. The Bulldogs move down to pick 3. They get some younger talent, and they only have to give up Buzzlinger, pick 1, and a future 4th round pick to get it done, which was very shrewd business by us, has to be said. I think all the other players that we gave up were uncontracted anyway. Let's have a look at the rucks that I've listed on my list, obviously. Would I go for Dodson or Mollier, or I think De Koning's out. I don't think I'm going to go for De Koning or Cherry. Let's go to North. I think he could be quite interesting if we give him like a 7-year deal, because rucks tend to age a lot better than, you know, your midfielders and things like that. Rucks can generally play for a long time. He's only 25, so I think a 7-year deal would be appropriate. The question is the money. How much money would he be after? That is the only thing. That would be okay. How much is he after? 867. That is a lot more comfortable than the 1.2 million we were going to pay Jamara. Well, let's pump it up to 870. Again, just round numbers. 867. We're going to offer him that deal. Apparently, he's already a free agent, but North Melbourne are not going to match. He is signed up as a free agent. We should probably send some compensation their way, and also try and get a couple of players. This might be where we trade some future picks to North Melbourne. I think that's what we do. I want to have a look at Dersma, although you can probably just draft that other guy instead of Dersma. I think that's probably the way to go. Urquhart, as a midfielder, only played 2 games, had quite a good 2 games, averaging about 35 disposals in those 2 games. I don't know what his value is the only thing, because he's only played 2 games. Or we could go for the more proven talent of Finn O'Sullivan, who was the 2nd overall pick in last year's draft, I believe. But he would definitely be more expensive. So we'd have to give up maybe a future pick or 2 is the only thing. But we could go, we'll start with 5-6 years until 2030, make it a nice year for the contract to end. That's a weird thing for me to say. We'll go after Finn O'Sullivan. He's after $900,000 a season. Okay, we're not going to go after Finn O'Sullivan right now. We'll go after Luke Urquhart. We'll give him a 4-year deal. He wants $330,000. That is much better. Now we're going to put a trade together. Since we signed Cherry as a free agent, we should probably give them a ruckman back. So I'm happy to throw Sam Naismith in there. I think Young, who's an 84 overall, I don't actually think we played a game with him last year. And I think also if we give them... We're going to have to give them a draft pick as sort of like a free agency compensation. We could go Bauer as a key forward, but we could also give them like an older player because they have traded for like Jack Darling and Luke Parker last season. We'll go Camden McIntosh, sort of fits that mold, and we'll give you pick 40 in the third round. I think that is more than fair value. So for clarification, this is for Urquhart and Cherry combined, not just for Urquhart. So we're not outrageously overpaying, but we get the deal done. I think we're off to a good start. Urquhart is now a Tiger, Buslinger's a Tiger, Cherry's a Tiger, and of course Tex Wanganeen is a Tiger. Just looking at the positions that we already have contracted, the defenders, or sort of back flankers, back pockets I mean, are probably the strongest and most reliable positions we have covered right now. If we go further forward to midfielders, we obviously have a ton of midfielders. A lot of them are going to leave, like Tommy Doe's probably going to leave, McAuliffe's going to leave. Sonsi may get traded depending on, but the starting midfield of Ross, Layla, Taranto, Smiley, that's going to stay the same for a long time. Key forwards, we got rid of Tom Lynch, obviously, to Geelong. Harry Armstrong and Fall, I want to start round 1 together next season. Kajitsky, I want him to come off the bench. So it may be worth our while either trading Bauer and Gray to either get a young key forward, throw in a draft pick, that kind of thing. Or we go for a bigger name and try and move on one of either Armstrong, Fall, or Kajitsky. Because I suppose with the younger talent, we can either wait, let them develop, and then have them be okay. They may not pan out is the other risk that we do have. So really depends on how that goes. Are there any other positions we need to look at? The small forwards, I think. Armstrong's there, Rioli's there, and Judson Clark's there, and Seth Campbell's there. That's literally it. So that's something that we need to have a look at as well. Rucks we've obviously just taken care of. I think I will re-sign Nan Curvis now. I think he's going to be the number 2 for the next couple of seasons behind Cherry. Miller can be third choice as well. And lastly is key defenders. Gibcus and Bolter have already been contracted for the long term. Trainers obviously there. And then we've just brought in Buslinger as 4th choice. So I feel like they're actually quite strong as well compared to some of our other positions. Cooper Hamilton will be my next target in the trade market. We're going to be offering basically the same deal we offered Tex Wanganeen, a primary list spot and $90,000 a season for 3 years. And we're also going to be having a crack at James Leake as well, who had a very good season last time around for the Giants. We're probably going to offer him a 5-year deal just because he's a little bit younger, has that potential, and he's only after $210,000 a season. We are absolutely going to offer that to him. And if he can accept that, that is an absolute bargain if I think he's going to progress how he's going to progress over the next couple of seasons. But now, what do the Giants want? They would probably want a draft pick, I would imagine. To get Cooper Hamilton and James Leake into the footy club, we're going to be sending Sam Banks, Bauer, and Ryan Mansell, as well as pick 19 from Geelong, through to the Giants. As well, we're going to get Hamilton, we're going to get Leake, but we're also going to try and get a future 2nd and 3rd round pick for next year's draft. Hopefully this deal gets done. They say we're close to getting a deal done. What if we take out the future 3rd and we ask for a 4th rounder this year, which is pick 61. Hopefully this gets it done. They say it's fair. I think we've done a good job there. We've moved on Banks, who only had a contract for next year. Bauer, who I also think was contracted for next year. Mansell, who didn't have a contract, but I think they will be good players for GWS. Not necessarily as first teamers. Banks might be, but I think Bauer and Mansell will be good backups for them. And they also get a 1st round pick, which I think is good value. I want to have a break from doing some trades. I want to have a look at some free agent signings, mainly that of Cam Zurhaar, which we did discuss earlier. He's 26 years of age, so I'd really only be interested in signing him till he's probably 30 or 31. So I think a 4 or 5 year deal would probably make the most sense. We'll go a 4-year deal just on the side of caution. We'll start at, he was making $400,000 a season last year. We'll drop it to $360. We'll see how that plays out. He wants $480. Let's actually try 5 years. He might want a little bit less. Not by much. We'll just stick with 480. I think that should be okay. And our second free agent signing, actually from North Melbourne this video, and of the series as well, will be Cam Zurhaar. Welcome to Richmond. And these are all the players that have been delisted by their clubs. And sometimes you can find the odd little gem in here. Someone like a Liam Duggan, who is a little bit older now. He's 27, back, sort of a defender, left footer, could be pretty handy. But I did see Jared Berry, who is 26 years of age. He's a right footer, accumulator. I don't know if he was in the Premiership team or not. I don't know how much money he's after. He made about $334,000 last year. I'd probably only be interested in a 1 or a 2 year deal, but we can just test out the waters here, see what he's after. Let's just try and even up the money a little bit. Jared Berry thinks he's worth about $550,000, so I'm probably going to stay away from him right now. Is there anybody else in the delisted section that I would potentially be interested in? Charlie Edwards, who is a relatively young player, 19 years of age, hasn't played an AFL game, has a little bit of potential, so there could be something there. We'll offer him 3 years, $192,000. We'll bring him on board. I think that is a great signing for us. And he's here for 3 years. We're going back to the Bulldogs now. I saw this player before. I think he might have been on our list earlier in the season. Lachlan Smith. He's 18 years of age. He's played 16 games, 460 disposals, which is very good for a ruckman. 701 hitouts for his career. Has decent potential, but for whatever reason has been delisted. I'm willing to pay a little bit more for this guy just because of the potential. And he should be relatively cheap as well. We're offering him $130,000 a season. He's only after $155,000. I know he's only a 71 overall, but considering the potential of the growth, I'm quite happy to have him on board. I found another gem here in Caleb Mitchell. He's a left footer, 20 years old from Sydney, yet to play an AFL game, potential of 80 to 91. We are just racking up players from the 22 national draft. I think we'll go 3 years, or maybe 4, I think is reasonable. Well, yeah, no, we'll chuck in 5, that's fine. $125,000 a season. He wants 206, so probably a little bit better than some of the other guys we've made offers for so far. We'll pump it up to 210 just to get past the 205. And he is here. He'll be here for 5 years. I probably shouldn't get too many more players from this list, but the last one we are going to get is Archie Roberts. He is a free agent, or a delisted free agent, I should say. He was actually on our watch list, so we're either realistically going to trade for him anyway or try and get him at another time. I think, considering he has 82 to 96 potential, we'll offer him the 6 years. I have no idea what his value is because he's only a 65 overall. He wants $122,000 a season. That is outrageous. I feel a little bit guilty doing that, so we'll pump it up to 185 because he may not pan out to be anything. And how old is he? He's 28. We might bring it back down to like $105,000. I think that's fair. Yeah, 6 years was a little outrageous. We'll go 4 years as a compromise. We'll go 125. That should be okay. He's accepted. We'll get back into the trades now. 10 more players to be contracted, and we've got roughly $3 million in cap space. We've got a bit to do. One of the players we need to sign is Nankervis, which I can't believe we haven't done yet. I don't know what he wants is the only thing. He made about $600,000 last season. How old is he? He's 30. We can probably go for a 3-year deal. He wants $700,000. I don't really want to do that. I know he's captain of the club, which is the only reason I'm probably considering it. Can I tuck in a 4th year and you be more reasonable with salary? Can we sort of compromise a little bit? No. I really don't want to move on from Toby. This might be a situation where we trade him somewhere and get him to win a flag just as a courtesy. He's been really good for us. I don't know what the value is, so we'll look at the market, see who needs a ruckman, and we'll go from there. I've been very interested in Matt Hill for a long time, ever since I found out about his story. Him coming from basically a rugby league academy. I think he was playing with the Melbourne Storm. I think it might have been. I could be mistaken. But he's now been drafted by Hawthorn this season. He's a mature age rookie born on the 1st of January. So I think, yes, he's not a ruckman, but if we can get a deal done for him, he has good potential because he was one of those community created players. If we can offer him like a 4 or a 5 year deal, I'm not going to offer him $195,000. It's just a base salary. We'll see what he wants. He wants $700,000 season. Can we go like for 3 years? Would that be more reasonable? 535, that's more reasonable. I think we're going to send Nankervis to Hawthorn for this guy. I'm more than happy to send a pick in for him. Probably a second or a third rounder as well. I think that will be decent. But 535 a season. Matt Hill has accepted. Let's put the deal together. We're going to be sending Nankervis with 2 future seconds from various clubs and our own second round pick, which is pick 24 in this year's draft, to Hawthorn for Matt Hill and their future first round pick. Considering they're in and around about 9th, this could be a top 4 pick. When I mean top 4, I mean Hawthorn make the top 4 next season because I just think they're that good. Or this could be in and around the top 10. It really depends on how they play next year. Hopefully this deal goes through. They're ecstatic with it. I'm happy just to be racking up these first round picks because I do have a game plan in mind. The last deal of the trade period is going to be bringing Harley Reid to Richmond. I know that I wanted to do some relatively realistic deals, and I think I have done that for the most part, but I did want one massive, big superstar signing, and I think Harley Reid's the one. I think if we absolutely throw the farm at him, I know he's got very high morale, and I'm trying to take that into consideration, but I'm also kind of trying to be relatively realistic, and that if we threw enough money at him and through West Coast a reasonable deal, they would probably say yes, and he would probably want to come home. Now, what a reasonable deal looks like, we've currently got $2.5 million worth of cap space. If we throw over $1 million a season at Harley Reid, that is going to leave plenty of room for our at least draft picks and maybe a couple of other delisted free agents. We'll see how it goes, but I think something in the ballpark of, we can start at, I don't even know where to start, 1.1, we'll go $1.2 million a season over 9 years. I think that is pretty reasonable for someone of Harley's potential, and I'm trying to consider the player he is now, the player he's going to become, and what he will mean to Richmond going forward. I think this is a blockbuster deal, and I think he should accept this, you would think. He has accepted it. Now I need to put the trade together. Harley Reid is only one part of this deal. I need to figure out exactly what the Eagles could potentially be interested in. Now I'm going to look at 2024 list for Richmond just to see actually if we have any Western Australians on the list that don't already play in Western Australia or have been moved on. I'm thinking of Baker as an example because he's already gone. Now, there is Nathan Broad, who is a Western Australian. Would he want to leave Richmond? He's been with us for a long time. Premiership player. I'm pretty sure Nathan Broad was a Premiership player. Yes, he played in all 3. So would he want to go back to Western Australia to retire there? That would be an interesting thing to consider. There's also someone like Ben Miller, who funnily enough, we just signed to a new contract. So had we not done that, I probably would trade him. So yeah, we've got a few different options here, but I think Broad is probably the most realistic one. And if we threw in one of our younger players as well, who that would be, I don't know. Tom Dow's a free agent, so they probably wouldn't be interested in him. Ross, no. Short's too old. Caleb Smith, no. So we could probably go someone who is a little bit younger. So let's go to the 2025 list, because I know most of the draftees are Victorian, I'm pretty sure. Yes, they are all Victorian. So would they want to go over to Western Australia? Probably not. So we'd probably need to get a little bit more creative. We do have 3 future first round picks, which we can play around with, because I don't really want to part with the number 1 pick, which we just traded for from North Melbourne. So I think Nathan Broad and 3 first round picks is probably fair value. That's the value that's been talked about the most with Harley Reid and him coming back to Victoria at some point. I think this is probably the way to go. Would they accept this? They are ecstatic with it. I think our trade period is done. I don't know how many players we currently have contracted. How many do we have? 33, and we've still got the draft, obviously. I think if we can sign a couple of delisted free agents, we can have a quick look, see who's there, and then maybe one or two more of these, and then I think we'll head into the draft. Will Verrill is going to be our first delisted free agent signing in this second batch that we're going to do. He was a rookie listed contract last season, and he was an All-Australian, I'm pretty sure, and for whatever reason, he's been delisted by Melbourne. He's got okay potential. He's by no means going to start many games for us, but we're going to submit an offer. He'll accept this, and he's going to be around, and he is going to be a good backup, I think. That's sort of what he's going to be. Kausha Deer has been delisted by Hawthorn. He didn't have a great deal of play with them last season, but as we know in real life, he had a really good rookie campaign. We're going to offer him a 3-year deal, $90,000 a season. He wants roughly $250. He's probably going to be like a third or fourth choice key forward. So I don't mind necessarily giving him that money. And I think he's got enough potential that he can potentially be traded to another club in the future. With 7 player spots left and about $1.5 million to spend, I think we are done. Our final draft hand is pick 1, 60, 63, 69, 84, 102, 120, 138, 156, 174. We could potentially trade some of those bottom picks for some picks next year, but I'm happy just to burn them because nobody really uses them. But I've been very happy with the stuff we have done this season. Free agency is now closed. The trade period is now closed. Let's have a look at who's moved around where, apart from our obvious moves. Okay, the first thing I've seen is Darcy Fogarty's been traded from the Crows to Port, which is bizarre. Brandon Zerk-Thatcher was also a part of that deal. Brendan Close, or is it Brandon? Brandon Close was traded from Geelong to West Coast. Riley West was traded from the Bulldogs to Carlton. Andy McGrath was a free agent signing from Essendon to the Bulldogs. Jack Silvani got traded to Carlton for Jai Caldwell, it looks like. Lewis Melican was a restricted free agent signing to the Crows. Dan Butler from St Kilda to West Coast. Jackson Archer, geez, the father-sons are getting traded. Traded from North Melbourne to the Bulldogs. Hugh McCluggage is now a member of Port Adelaide. And then Dougal Howard signs as a restricted free agent with North Melbourne. So a lot of very interesting moves just between clubs. I don't think there are any other moves for us to do. The trade period is now done. We're going to delist anybody that doesn't have a contract, and it is time for the national draft. This has been a very long video. I do apologize if it's too long for you. But with the first pick in the 2025 AFL draft, the Richmond Tigers select Gabriel Johnston. Is he Victorian? Vic Country? Vic Metro? I think that's Vic Metro, if I believe correctly. But he is going to be drafted as a medium-sized forward. I am very happy with that selection. I'm not really that invested in any of these other picks, so I'm quite happy just to skip forward to our next pick. We're only required to take 3 players in today's draft. Then we've obviously got the rookie draft afterwards. We could go a couple of different directions here. We could go for potential, or we can go for someone with AFL experience. There is Will Dawson here, who I believe used to play for North Melbourne. Yes, that is correct. Hasn't played a career game, is another key defender. But I also see that someone like Nathan Murphy, who unfortunately had to retire in real life due to concussion and just hasn't been removed from the game yet. We could go in that kind of direction as well. I do also see down here, I'm not sure if this is a real person or not, Diego Gould. I'm assuming he's not a real person because he's a key forward and he's 165 centimeters tall. So there's a few different directions we can go. In terms of the other players that are here that played AFL last season, Kausha Deer is here, as well as Charlie Edwards. Even though they signed with us in free agency, I did think that was a bit strange. Lewis Hayes is here. I've always enjoyed his work and has been very good in other save files that I've done. There's a few different options. What about the more experienced players? We could go someone like a Jake Kelly, who did get delisted. I didn't want to sign him, but he was here. Blake Hardwick is here, just got delisted from Hawthorn. Joe Berry, we did actually initially look at signing him as a free agent. Jared Berry. So that is another direction we could go in. I'm gonna go with the forward in Blake Hardwick. I know we're pretty well versed at forward in terms of we just drafted a small forward and we've got plenty of good ones. And I'm going to go with Will Dawson as my last pick. You can never have too many key defenders, and he's inexperienced and needs a bit of TLC. But I think we've done well in this offseason. I don't know how many picks we're going to have in the rookie draft. We'll just wait and see. We need 4 picks, that's fine. And we've got a top 3 pick, which is lovely. We're going to go back to the AFL board here. There's Lockie Fogarty. There is... I forgot how to say this guy's name. I got mocked for it when I was making my Essendon video. We don't really need another small forward is the only thing. Lockie Golan is here. He's got good potential, but I don't really need another key forward. Granger Barris is here. 80 overall, 85 to 95 potential. That may be too good to pass up at this point of the draft. We probably won't play him, but use him as a trade asset later down the line. I think that may be the direction we go. We'll just have a little look around, see who else is here. There's this guy here, I can't say I'm familiar. Luke Lloyd, key forward from Brisbane. Played 1 game, 81 to 94 potential. Interesting, but we don't really need another key forward, as I said. I'm going to go with, I think it's Connor or Cooper. Cooper Vickery from Sydney. He's played 21 games, is a decent little defender. I'm going to pick him up as a draftee, little defender. And we've got a few more picks that we can do. I do want to pick up, is it Lewis Hayes that I saw before? I can't remember. We'll have to go back to the AFL section. If he's still here, yes he is, we are going to draft him. We haven't taken a midfielder yet in the rookie draft or even in the national draft. I don't think we took a midfielder. So I'm going to take, I think it's Clay Hall from the West Coast Eagles. Yeah, he got delisted. We're going to make Harley Reid feel a little bit more welcome. I'm going to bring him into the club. And with our final pick of the off-season, I'm going to have a look at someone who's a little bit older, who can provide a little bit experience. Could go Zach Jones. That is an interesting pick. I think Zach Jones will be the pick. I've had a little look around. Nothing is really that inspiring. So I think he will be the one. And we are officially done signing new players. How far are we under the salary cap? Oh, we are under by a fair bit. About 9, almost 9.5% under. How much does that equate to in terms of Muller? We are $1.3 million under, which is low. But that means we can give some money to other players this season, and we can take money off of their contracts at later dates. So the one player that I'm thinking of who is a prime example for this is Harley Reid. If we can add like $500,000 to his, $300,000 to his contract this year, and then over the life of the rest of his contract take off $300,000, I think that will be a very big use for easing some of our salary cap woes as we go further into the season, or into the series, I should say. We're about $30,000 short now. I don't really feel like adjusting anybody else's contract, so I'm happy to leave it to management now. Guernsey numbers, actually, I should probably correct the Guernsey numbers from last season. I need to have a look. So what number is actually where is everybody? Sam Layla is number 22 in real life. Since Hopper's now gone, I don't really feel a need to change it back, or even though Hopper has moved to number 2 in real life. And besides, I've gotten used to Layla being at number 6, so that is just fine. Who else are the draftees from last season? Taj Hotton's number 24. He can move down to number 8. That's fine. Armstrong's actually number 34. I believe he's number 11 on mine, so that's cool. Smiley's actually number 16, and Trainer's actually number 31. Jonty Fall is number 26, so he can move to 26. So I feel like moving down on the number order is an upgrade. It doesn't make sense to move further up. Apart from that, everything else is okay. Oh, I've actually missed one. Rioli changed his number to number 17, so we're going to do that. And now we're going to give numbers to everybody else who deserves an upgrade. Caleb Smith, first cab off the rank he can move down to 30. Actually, no, what we're going to do is we're going to give the new players the numbers first, and then we're going to do the old players. Gabriel Johnston is going to be wearing number 2 as the number 1 draft pick. I would have given him number 1, but that currently belongs to Nick Vlosten. I was thinking about giving Tex Wanganeen his dad's number, which is number 4, but then I remembered this is Richmond. We can't give him number 4, so I'm going to give number 4 to Harley Reid because I think that makes the most sense. And I don't think he's a number 9. It makes sense when he's at West Coast, but he's not anymore, so he's going to be wearing number 4 for Richmond. Next up is who's the most senior player that we recruited? Tristan Jerry. I don't remember what number he wore at North. Was it 38? He deserves an upgrade. He can wear... What number can he wear? He can wear... Oh, he can wear 38, actually. That's fine. I think I'm just going to try and give players numbers that they were wearing at previous clubs, unless those numbers didn't really make any sense. Urquhart was wearing number 14 at North. Is anybody wearing 14 at the moment? Taranto is. So he can wear... What number is he going to wear? He can wear 24. That's fine. Buzzier was wearing number 5, I believe. I'd rather give him something a little bit higher. He can wear 25. Cooper Hamilton can wear something in the mid-20s. He can wear 28. Archie Roberts, same deal. He can get like a random number. 29 is fine. Hill, he was one of our bigger recruits. He can wear number 7. James Leake, he can wear number 10. I think that's cool. Zerha can wear number 9. That is fine. Kausha Deer, he can wear number 30. I think he wore 35 at Hawthorn, so that's cool. He can wear that. Cooper Vickery can wear number 27. Verrill can wear number 41. That's cool. And then Smith can wear number 36. That's cool. Does anybody else get an upgrade from our guys? I think Caleb Smith gets an upgrade. That's cool. He can wear number 13. No, 32 I think is cooler for him. And then Campbell can wear number 33. Sonsi can stay 40. Jonty Fall can wear 26. Trainer can stay 31. And I think everybody else stays the same. That seems reasonable. Good job, everyone. Well done, team. That is the end of the 2025 season. I was going to say absolute nightmare of a season. The first 10 weeks were awful, but apart from that, it wasn't too bad. I will see you guys next time for pre-season. Do we have any injuries still? I know Caleb Smith had a dislocated shoulder. Has he all healed up now? I think everybody's all good injury-wise, which is lovely. But as I said, that is going to do it. Thank you so much for your support over Season 1. It has been outstanding. My goal for Season 2 is to not finish in the bottom 4. Let's finish in the top 12. That would be outstanding. But please leave a like if you have enjoyed the series so far. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you guys then. Bye!